the very beginning of the record.
Yeah.
It's distorting. And the beginning of something is always significant. Like, how did you decide to kind of warp things in that way at the beginning?
Well, with that, with the initial, like when you hear the original song, I think it's only like maybe 4 bars of that intro, melody, and then that comes in. Versus when I was doing it, I wanted it to be something I could build up because I already had this idea in my mind of once the vocals come in, I cut out everything and just have this like bass pad under it.
Yeah.
And then having
Joshua
Demathless on the track just made it like perfect. And so with this, I extended the melody out and I added a bunch of my own creations on top of it. And
your vocal creations?
No, just like there's a lot of parts actually on the record that I'll have like come up with like maybe a different melody to go on top that wasn't on the original one, but it feels like it fits kind of right. So a lot of when I had like I have the initial distorted synthesizer that's playing the original melody, and then on top of that I have a Mellotron flute that I it's sampled, and then there's I have a xylophone that I play on top of it. I always like to put samples of like different soundscapes into a song because that really pushes the mood without being like too in your face about it.
Exactly.
And so I had like ocean waves in the background, and that kind of provides the context
on that
for
particular song.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'll listen out for them. But they're doing this subtle mood shaping.
Yeah.
And the song, especially with like Joshua's delivery, especially talk. It's kind of, for want of a better word, boisterous. How did that come to be?
Well,
how does it have this character?
Actually, initially, I believe, if I remember correctly, I wanted Josh on. I just wasn't made for these times.
Oh.
And but when we were like on the way to my place,
Devata Daun and.
Well, no, when Josh and I were on my way to my place to record it, I think maybe he brought it up, but I still didn't have anyone to do Wouldn't It Be Nice, and he's like, well, I know that one, like I can do that one. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know.
And it's the opening track.
Yeah, it's the opening track, and he's got like such an immense voice that it was awesome. And I remember it was late summer, and with my place I have an AC unit that I have to shut off every time I'm recording. And so that one we had done like 3 hours of vocal takes, and it was no AC, and we're both just sweating, and it was. We ended up getting it, and that one turned out to be one of my favorite ones.
A defining feature of the original record is the vocal harmonies, as had, of course, already been the case for a long time with the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I think there are certain tracks, like Still Believe in Me, where you kind of, that element comes through. Are there multiple city councillor Nickies? On that, or are you also doing some
so
vocals?
In that one, I'd actually there's definitely multiple Nickies.
Yes,
there's
exactly. There are multiple Nickies.
A lot of Nickies on
Beach Boys of Nicki.
Exactly. And I did a little bit on, but I buried it super far down in there just to give it kind of like a different texture to it. But what I found interesting about that song is the end piece where it's like a bunch of harmonies stacked on top of each other. I initially had them sing it the way that the Beach Boys originally did, but when I went to, I was going to extend out a part, and when I went to grab the vocals to drag them all over, a few of them actually like got left behind, and so when I played it, it wasn't quite right, but it gave it like this certain like weird rhythm to the end of it. And so if you kind of compare the two, the rhythm that I got to on the very end was kind of accidental, but thought it was
but
like
it shows obviously an easily resolvable accident.
Yeah,
the decision not to resolve it.
And those are always the coolest things.
Decision, yeah. So that one and God Only Knows with Matthew John. I feel like we have multiple Matthews there.
Yeah. So that one.
Are they the two main ones where you're kind of drawing out the vocal harmonies that are there in the original record?
I will say the one that is the biggest is definitely Good Vibrations.
Oh, of course, yeah.
With Fort Wilson Riot, and that one was a monster to do. It was like, luckily,
Jacob and Amy.
Luckily, like Jacob's a huge fan of the Beach Boys, and when they came over, he had his laptop with like all the harmonies like written out and just like everything ready to go, which was awesome because just tracking, we did like 2 3-hour sessions of just vocals.
I can believe it. And, with that many harmonies, yeah.
And so that one is probably like the most harmonious, I'd say. Sure. But God Only Knows, there's a moment in the bridge where it's like, it breaks down to just bass and I think it's finger snaps and then vocal harmonies.
Yeah.
And I remember Matt and I were listening to the original one over and over again to try and like rip apart like who's singing what where and how to do that. And we ended up, it took us like a half hour to like actually rip it apart, but Matt ended up nailing it, and
yeah, he did. Yeah, I think it's so. Those are the 3 songs, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I think that's just right that there is this, because that's such a defining feature of the original record.
Yeah.
When you have great vocalists who who can recreate something of that nature, then I think it's great that you did that with those particular songs.
And I actually, going into it, I initially didn't have that much emphasis on the harmonies. Not out of like any particular reason. It was just kind of, I wanted to focus more on the production. Yeah. But, there are songs like Don't Talk with LPF where I had Renelle, Janessa, and Catherine come on separately and do different things. And I believe with that one, we'd switched up a lot of the harmonies and like created new ones.
So we haven't talked yet about the collaborations with Lot, with P.O.S, with Devata Daun C, Kostra.
Yeah.
And were those some of the last songs that you worked on?
Yeah, so the one with Devata Daun C, Kostra,
which would originally have been with Dem Atlas.
Right. Yeah. But that one is either that one or Here Today with P.O.S was the last one we did. But that was just
nice
kind of
note to end on.
Well,
with those two.
Yeah, that was I think it was just mainly because I live with Nikki, Devata Daun, and so it was kind of like, I was kind of basing everything more on other people's schedule, because since we live together, it's like, oh, you want to hop on and record type of thing?
At any time.
Yeah.
So what does Ryan do on the track? Is he collaborating with him as a producer?
No, he actually does he does vocoder vocals on it, and so he's on the very end, and he does some of the lines in the chorus on it. And just really cool, like, because he brought his whole rig over to record, and I didn't have to do anything to the vocals at all, because they're already like, that's the way they are. And
absolutely,
it's cool.
And Here Today was another one of the last ones.
Yeah, so that one was pretty interesting, because there's a few of the songs on the record that actually a lot of the songs on the record, most of the people aren't used to singing in that style, and so that was one of the ones that Steph and I kind of went through and did like different, we kind of tried to figure out what would work the best, and we ended up going with, he's got like a high and a low take on it, and then the chorus, I was like, I want to make this as big as possible, so I got Vicky Seymour, CMJ, City Councilor Nikki, and Lot on the chorus as well, singing it. And then I got...
I was wondering who those voices were.
Yeah.
That's a good crew.
Yeah. And then Andrew Thurine from Hardy Har, I got him to play the trombone on the track, which...
Yeah, I was going to ask about the trombone.
Yeah, that was awesome because that was the only thing that wasn't recorded in my living room. That was, he just like sent me the waves and they were perfect. And it was awesome.
Nice. So, and that was one of the last ones. So that must have felt nice to be near the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And there is a sense of fun. Like with many POS tracks, there's often like you can hear like he's like laugh, especially like on the newest record. Like there's lots of laughing and like mistakes are kind of kept in there.
Right, and that's there's a few of the tracks that I really tried to do that with. One of them was Hang On to Your Ego, just because I had Corey and Lydia recording at the same time, and it was really funny because I thought they knew each other, but they didn't know each other. And
even like once they were singing together, you thought they already knew each other?
Well, no.
When they arrived.
Yeah, when they arrived, I thought they, just because like we all kind of have similar friend groups, and
you thought they might have played on similar bills or something.
Yeah, something like that. But they ended up like just. The whole vibe and the chemistry of everything in the studio was so awesome that I wanted to capture that of them just like having fun. And so there's a lot of, you hear them in the background kind of doing like ad-libs and things like that. And there's a lot of points in the record where I kind of like to like mess with the listener a little bit.
Yeah.
Where like the end of Here Today, I kind of fade it out at first. And so you think the song's done, but then I have like another chorus that kind of just jumps back in.
Absolutely. I think that works. That works well.
Yeah, and I had always kind of wanted to do something like that, and that was just a situation where I felt like it really worked.